Hi, I'm Anupam Kher, and I'm today the man of the hour.
Here on the Men of the Hour podcast, we want to bring each and every one of you conversations that will not only bring you positivity and hope, but remind you that even the most influential men in society go through life the same ways we all do. Today, I'm extremely honored to bring worldwide sensation Anupam Kher to the show, who recently launched a podcast I encourage you all to check out entitled Anupam Cares. Now, we might know this man from being a famed actor after having over 500 credits throughout his career between Bollywood, Hollywood, and around the world, so I could only imagine what sparked the idea to launch a podcast dedicated to bringing audiences a ray of hope during these uncertain times. This will be an episode I only hope brings your spirits up and inspires you to take one step further in seeing the world and your life from the bright side. I'm so excited to see you. You've had quite the extraordinary career. I mean, we just said it, 500 credits across the world. And when I heard that you launched the podcast with iHeart, I could only imagine what went into it. But, we'll get to everything, Anupam Cares and your book. I can't wait to talk about all of it with you. But you're in Mumbai. Everybody else we've interviewed has been domestic with us. But how are you doing? You're into the future now. You're 10 hours ahead of us almost.
That's right. It's 9:35, 9:36 right now in the evening. It's wonderful to be back home, and this is my house. I wish I could turn around the camera and show it to you, but this is how. It's been nice. I'm happy that the podcast 5-6 episodes are out, and there are reactions which are very good. I'm very happy to be talking to you, Justin. You have an amazing aura about yourself. And I judge, not judge. I like to know people, and your family is in US, but you are of the Japanese ascendant or something like that. Is that
my family's split between Tennessee and Japan, so I'm half Japanese, Hapa as they call it, half Asian.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's lovely. I when I was in drama school, I did a few plays in the no form and the classical traditional theater form of no, and kabuki also. So I know a little bit about Japanese theater, but Mumbai has been doing better than other places that I have heard. In Delhi is not doing so well, but I think our municipal commissioner, who heads the municipal corporation, I think he created a certain kind of system which made it easier for us to deal with it. And also, I think we took our prime minister's advice of taking the lockdown seriously and social distancing seriously. I think it's about discipline. It's about how you cope up with it. And we are supposed to be not the most happening country in terms of economic growth and things like that. But I think we have a tradition of listening to our elders. And we are fortunate that we have a prime minister who is treated at the head of the family. And he has been conducting all of us in a certain manner of a family. And we listen to him. 90% people listen to him. Everybody does not listen to the prime minister ever in any place.
In any place.
In any place. We are fortunate that we have been able to control this pandemic in a little more realistic manner.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for the aura note. That's something I noticed about you as well. When I listened to your show and when I saw you and I saw the other interviews you've done, I've watched your career over time. And I think that people will just naturally connect when you have a sense of purpose and mission, which we will get to on this particular episode, because it seems like your entire life at this point is driven with purpose and passion. And it's something that all of us admire about you. And so I'm glad everything is doing well in Mumbai, at least for the most part of the pandemic. Thank you for inviting us into your house through the Zoom call. This is the best experience during these types of Zoom calls, is to get, a better sense of how people are living, with all of our guests. But I want to begin with Anupam Cares. You're 5 or 6 episodes in now. Where did the idea spark? And to my point earlier, this is something you listen to, and between the music and your comforting voice, anybody can get lost in the podcast episodes, yet they're not even so long. They're not 1 or 2 hours long. They're shorter episodes. So what sparked the idea, and then what's the purpose behind it?
Thank you, first of all, for your generosity and for your kindness towards this podcast and towards me. at a very young age, my father, we lived in a joint family. We were very poor, and at those days, those terms were not there: lower middle class and upper middle class and middle class. They were poor and they were rich, and then came in the middle class, etc. So we came from a poor family. I lived in a joint family of 14 people in a small room, a small studio apartment. Um, and my father was the only earning member in the, this is, I'm talking about late 50s. I
Mm.
was born in 55, and late 50s, early 60s. But I noticed that all of us were very happy. And I asked my grandfather, I said, Grandfather, we are very poor. Why are we so happy? And he said something so amazing. He said, when you are very poor, the cheapest luxury is happiness, which was phenomenal. And and then my father, who was just a clerk in the forest department, he once told me, because I did not do well in my exams, and he said, "Don't worry, my son. Failure is an event, never a person. The event fails. A person never fails unless he or she accepts failure. Otherwise,
Mm.
if this, God forbid, this Wi-Fi was not working, things were not happening, it would have, the you and I would have not failed. Maybe the event would have gone a little haywire.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it will continue doing well. So I have never had, I have never had issues with trying out new things, because acting is part of my life. It is not my life. And
Mm.
now that I've done so much work, I feel that as an actor also, I wanted to reach out to people. We in India, actors are revered because we are part of people's lives. We are part of people's psyche. We are part of their families. We share emotions which are very, very deep rooted. So
Mm-hmm.
and also my first job as a radio host was a disaster. Uh, this was when I was in the college. I
Yeah.
needed to earn some extra money, and All India Radio Shimla, which is the official radio broadcasting
Mm-hmm.
center, they were looking for some announcers, and I used to do some theater in my college. So I also went and I got the job. And my first job, I have fumbled so much that that became my last job. uh, I had to say something in Hindi, that you will now listen to this instrument by a instrumentalist who was a very famous uh, sarod player called Shiv Kumar Sharma. That was the name of this gentleman.
Mm.
And I was so nervous and excited that I could not get, I said Shiv, 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 and it was live. And I told my family, wake up and watch me, hear me perform. So that was my last job. So I think somewhere in my mind, I wanted to have this uh, level settler kind of
Yeah.
a thing. But when I went to off late, I feel that I must, my books that are the three books that I've written, my third book has just come out. They're
Yeah.
all about how to deal with life.
Mm.
Now, I'm not a professional life coach, but I think I have lived my life
Mm-hmm.
to a certain extent in a manner that um, I have tried to be as truthful to myself as I can. And through that, I learned what you need to do to deal with life.
Mm.
So that is how I became a writer, and that's how I conveyed. But when I was in America, I had this very strong desire to be a podcast host. It was something very exciting for me, because it had to do with voice, it had to do with stories, it had to do
Mm-hmm.
with, uh, and I had not heard much of it. And my trainer, Matt, knew Mr. Bob of iHeart, and he said, I said, I've been dying to do this podcast, something
Mm.
like that. He said, what do you want to do about it? I said, I want to meet the team. And then I was very happy and very lucky to meet Mangesh and his team. And I wanted to do something about hope.
Mm.
This was much before pandemic happened. This is much before lockdown happened.
Mm.
Because I think hope is the most important emotion that we need to share with people. We live in a situation where our happiness, we always depend on somebody else. We live in this world of social media, where the
Mm.
social media decides whether we should be happy or not, because how many likes you got, how many dislikes you got, how many followers do you have. We are constantly made to believe that we are living in a dangerous world. Whenever we look at news, whenever we look at television, the breaking news is always about what has gone wrong in the world.
Mm.
And so where do you draw situations where you feel there is something so beautiful about life? And that is why the idea was that I wanted to do something where this world is a beautiful place. I think I'm an eternal optimist. For me, the ultimate definition of optimism is nothing is all wrong. Even a clock that has stopped running is correct twice a day. So I wanted to do something, and my autobiography had just come, and I think my
Mm-hmm.
reference point is my life. A boy from small town is living at that time in New York on the 37th floor, and who came to the city of Mumbai with his dreams and a training with half a dollar. And God has been so kind to me. Means I have done 517 films. I'm tomorrow going to do my 518th film.
Right.
I am a writer, and that doesn't mean that life. I have not had my ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
but it's my attitude which have brought me to wherever I am, not my talent. Your attitude gets you uh, through life,
Mm.
and I would like to say that I'm in any situation. I get bogged down. I get into indulge into self pity, but I then get out of it. So the podcast idea, when I shared with Mangesh, who is my executive producer of Anupam Cares, I always wanted to have something with Care, Anupam
Of
Cares
course.
podcast. So Anupam Cares came from it. And then they did a splendid job. Julian and Morgan and Mangesh did an amazing job of getting the similar stories from all over the world about hope, about compassion, about uh, positivity, and that's how Anupam Cares came into functioning.
Let's talk about this idea of hope now, then. I mean, that's something that a lot of people would like to remain hopeful, I would assume, especially when life gets hard before, like you'd said, this was an idea before the pandemic, before the shutdown. But even then, I'm sure you were seeing that so many people were hopeless about certain things in life that inspired you to want to help them. But for you, when you are aiming to be hopeful, or you want to instill hope in other people, how exactly do you think that's done? Is it through conversation, or are there step-by-step practices that you probably have followed all these years?
So I used to go on this riverside walk in New York, and I used to find a lot of people going for a morning walk but being angry.
Mm.
They were constantly angry. I was once walking, and I stopped because I got a notification on my phone that a very very dear friend and an actor in India passed away, unfortunately. So I stopped out of shock, and there was this person who came from other side. There was so much space on this side and so much space for on my right and on my left, but he banged into me, and my phone fell off. And I saw him, and I told him, I said, "Your anger is not going to help you for your morning walk.
Mm.
You are going for a morning walk for prolonging your life, but you're so angry. It's not going to help you." So I started a laughter club in Riverside. uh, I made people come together and make them do laughter yoga. So we will
I
have
love
100
that.
people, and we will just laugh, because laughter, as they say, is the best medicine. But you can
Yes.
only laugh, and you don't have to use jokes. It's a physical exercise. You have to laughter has a lot to do with breathing. You breathe
Mm.
in, and you ha ha
Ha
ha,
ha. Yeah.
and then you do it 4 times, then you do it 8 times, and then it turns into laughter. So we did that.
Yeah.
That made a difference. Then I was once in my elevator, and there was this elderly lady who was with a nice, cute doggy. And we Indians have a habit of doing hello, 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 sweetie doggy, etc. And she suddenly turned and towards me, and she said, "He does not talk to strangers."
Hmm.
So I told her, I said, "I was not talking to him. I was talking to you. Hello, how are you?" So so I think you have to practice happiness.
Yeah.
I think you have to practice happiness. Like you practice motor driving, like you practice anything else.
Yeah.
Once you practice it for 3 months, then it becomes a habit.
Mm.
It's not. It's about communication. You have to talk to people. You
Mm.
have to be an example of happiness. I very rarely get angry. It's not
Mm.
that I don't feel angry, but my
Sure.
grandfather used to say, "Delayed by 7 seconds." delay your response by 7 seconds. If you say something nasty to me, or somebody says something nasty, if I respond immediately, it will be something nasty from my side. But if I take 7 breaths, I will laugh. My response will be different. So you, as an individual, have to think that you can make a difference. But we wait for other people to sort of make a difference. But I will make my contribution. I will make my trying my level best to make a difference. And if everybody starts doing that, we will have a better place to live. So hope is that. What else can you give people?
Right.
Look at this pandemic. The strongest countries, the richest people, or the poorest people, they all became one. And in this pandemic, you only needed 3 things you discovered that you wanted immediately to be with your dear ones, family, parents, brother, sister, wife, children, or the second thing you needed was essential commodities, something to eat, something normal to wear, and third thing, that Wi-Fi should work so that you connect with people. And all our greed, trying to achieve this time I'm going to a holiday to Japan, the next year I will go to so and so place, the next year I will go to Sydney. Nothing worked once the pandemic was announced.
Right.
So hope is the only thing that you can share with people. It's the most powerful 4-letter word.
And the most
That's what I feel.
the most powerful 7-letter word is happiness, both starting with H.
Exactly. Yes.
I love that, Anupam.
Yes.
You mentioned how people, no matter the status and the background that you were living in prior to the pandemic, we've all kind of been surviving through this, and living through it together. Something that I think a lot of people are thinking about, because we're all together and in one now, has been mental health. And just being more cognizant of what's happening in your mind, because your mind controls your body. I mean, you know that more than I do. But with mental health and anxiety, these are problems that the world's already known about for so long, but then we're facing it more and more as generations come in and discuss it. Right. I think people are starting to talk about it more and more, so much so that I saw that the total cost of treatment for anxiety and depression disorders across 36 countries worldwide is estimated to be $147 billion by 2030. So when you think of that number and how many people are seeking treatment for such health disorders, I guess treatment and help in general, psychiatrists and psychological help, medicine, whatever that might be. How do you think people can help with such disorders, maybe by not having to seek out, because we both come from Asian cultures, and I know in Japan at least, and in India, it's more of the person looking inward at themselves before having to seek out external resources. And so I wanted to talk about that with you when thinking about mental health, anxiety and depression, and all the negative things that are happening upstairs for us right now. What are your thoughts with that, and how people can go in a more positive direction mentally right now?
So I personally feel we are fortunate to come from a background, especially the country-wise, is that we have traditional values. That is the most important factor. We have values where families became more important. The values were more important. The togetherness was more important. As a child, there was always somebody else, somebody in the family who was answering your questions. Not necessarily the best answers, but as children, we are very curious. My uncle was one uncle who failed in 7th standard 8 times, but he thought he was a most intelligent person on earth. Every time we as children will go to him and I'll say, Uncle, why is the sky blue? He will come up with his own ideas, which will have nothing to do with reality. But at that, as children, so we have family system, which needs to be. But unfortunately, in today's time, we have nuclear families. We don't have joint families, and everybody is working. And we are also too technology oriented. We have to keep time for ourselves, where the family has to be together, where the question answer has to, which happened, I think, in pandemic. People came together somehow or the other. Mental health is going to be a very, very important factor, and we need to deal. But we don't need to deal it with statistics. We need to deal it with compassion. We need to deal within groups. We need to deal it with people. We need to have these core groups everywhere, and where people will be there to listen to you. We all our lives we have walked fast nowhere. We talk at people. We don't talk to people. In your eyes, there is a sincerity of actually wanting to know the answer. In my eyes, there is a sincerity wanting to convey to you.
Mm,
Communication is the most important factor. And it has to start from zero level.
mm,
Of course, there will be medicine, there will be so many other things that are required. But what is required the most in today's world is compassion. Compassion for a fellow human being. Because the more the machinery call which we need, the more we today write a message and we don't smile and we just send a smiley and we think our job is done without smiling. Hi, hope you are doing well. Without a smile, it has become the communication is of machine.
mm,
So we will slowly become machines and emotions will become less and less.
mm.
You see, today a child of 4 years old, people feel very happy at least in my side of the world. Oh, my son knows how to go into YouTube. My son knows how to go to play this
Yeah.
game. And my son is, whenever he's busy, we give him the phone. And with Google, the information come to you, but knowledge comes with knowledge. Knowledge comes with life. Knowledge
Mm,
comes with living. So I think that has to
mm.
be given. Value system has to be different. I know that it may be something not a very concrete 1, 2, 3, 4 ideas, but that is the only way I think I'm a little sorted because I came from a joint family.
Yep.
Also because my parents could not afford to give me the best toys. So what were my toys? I will play with anything that will I will play. I will actually make castles. Today, this is a luxury to sort of let me take my child to a place and he will make or he or she will make a castle, etc. But
Mm,
it has to start from ground zero of value system, of togetherness, of listening, of slowing down and breathing. The most important factor, I'll tell you something very interesting. There was a teacher of mine who, long time back, I used to learn yoga, and he used to say that you see, the concept of time and years and minutes and seconds and hours is man made. That there should be 12 months and there should be January, February, etc. That there should be 365 days and 60 seconds is 1 minute, 60 minutes is one. But you are sent into this world with the number of breaths. Actually, the slower you breathe, the longer you will live. You see, we have
wow.
no time to breathe.
Yeah.
That's why they said, take a breath, take a breath. Whenever you go,
Yeah.
you meet with an anxiety, take a breath. So that's why the pranayam, the meditation,
Mm.
the old system of all this is helpful.
And yeah.
Breathe and laugh. Do that laughing exercise. We are pretending to laugh. We are pretending. People who pretend don't like themselves. I like myself.
I love that you like yourself. That's like,
Yes,
you
that
have
is. It
to.
has to
It
start. It has
starts
to start
here.
from here. If I don't like myself for whatever I've done with my life, how can I like you, my friend?
Yeah.
It is. It. You have to have self. I'm not saying go ballistic about it,
Hey,
arrogant
some
about
people
it.
do. They really
Yeah,
love themselves.
sometimes do. Sometimes people believe in I, me, and myself.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. That you have to slow down. If we don't learn now with this worldwide pandemic situation, we will never learn.
Mm.
So I don't know. This is may not have a very concrete answer for you, but I think it is very important to look within, and it's also important to be interested in the other person. We stop being interested in the other person.
Mm.
We have time span of 10 minutes, and especially in bigger cities.
Yeah.
I talk to somebody and I mean, yeah, yeah, I know,
They're not
and the
really
moment
listening. They're
10
ready
minutes
for
are
you to
over,
finish
I can
before.
see eyes going completely blank, and now they are on moving on to somebody else.
We both live in New York City, or you were for the most
Yeah,
part. Yeah, that's what happens all the time. It's like they're ready for the answer when they ask you how you're doing. So don't ask me how I'm doing if you
exactly.
already think you know the
No,
answer, or whatever the conversation
or
might be.
they are
So
not interested in the
they're
answer.
not interested. Yeah.
They're not
Why
interested
do
in
you
the
think
answer.
that is? Is it the technology? It's probably a mixture of a lot of things, but what is at the core of why you think people are losing
Because
interest in
I think
humans?
people easily become cliches. The reason I want to be a New Yorker, so now what are the 3, 4 things required as a New Yorker?
Mm,
That you should be carrying a coffee cup in your hand,
Walking dog.
and you should be running fast, and
Yeah.
you should have no time for others. New York, according to me, is the most amazing city. I love the city, but that is an inherent quality of the city.
Mm.
But we also try and sort of want to belong to the city by being copying some people, that this is what New York is all about. I think New York, when I used to go to Central Park, I think it allows you to look at your own self. So if the mold, like I always talk about corporate house people,
Mm-hmm.
corporate people give birth to a certain kind of section of people. Khaki trousers, light blue shirt, and shaved look, and a black coffee, and a Financial Times newspaper in their hands. So I was once traveling from Mumbai to Delhi, and some similar kind of person walked in. So we can make out some person like that from far away. Oh, a corporate head honcho is coming and sitting next to me. So they are never interested in the man who is in movies, because for them, movie, hey, it's okay. I'm a different kind of a person. So while I'm ordering omelette and croissant and everything, he's ordering black coffee or an orange juice, and no sugar, please. And then this happened with me, really. And then he did not have any conversation with me. He was dying to know how many movies have I done. I was part of his life. His wife would have killed him. Why didn't he take a picture with me? But he was a slave of his this image that he had created in his mind, that I am not supposed to talk to him. And then he asked me the most stupidest question when we were about to land in Delhi. He said, "Going to Delhi?" so, so I think we like to become uh, cliches,
Mm.
and that's why there are some original people you actually really love talking to. There's some amazing original people that I met, because we want to be part of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to have this sense of belonging. We are desperate to belong. But I think, in spite of all these things, again coming back to, there is hope for everybody.
Yeah. I I am hopeful that people will begin to be more compassionate. Anupam,
They will be.
after a slow time
They
when we
will
can
be.
take a deep breath, what do you think people, if they are, still in a mind wander of comparing themselves to other people because of social media, or coming to New York for the wrong cliche reasons, or just kind of in a bad mental state of how they see the world externally, how can they begin to try to become more compassionate in your eyes?
So I think the most important thing is to describe yourself in one word to start with. This is what I do.
Mm.
So let me ask you, if you have to describe yourself in one word, what will that word be? So you
Happy.
never thought. Happy. Amazing. This is fantastic. Now I start this game
Mm.
with, it took you a little time because you never thought about yourself if you were to ever describe yourself in one word,
Mm-hmm.
but you came up with the word happy. That describes yourself. First, it's important to know yourself. What have you gone through in this lockdown period? What have you gone through in this pandemic? You may try and lie to the whole world. Please
Mm.
don't lie to yourself.
Right.
Anupam gets
Right.
up in the morning and says, "Oh, I'm in a bad mood today. Oh, now let me try and do something about it. Oh God, I'm feeling low. I'm feeling happy. Or this performance that I did was very bad. But why did
Mm.
my friend say that it was very good?" So if you don't lie to yourself, you are in touch with reality. So because people have spent a lot of time at home, we have done mass uh, meditation. Because what is meditation? Meditation is observing your own breath.
Mm-hmm.
So people need to breathe and not to lie to themselves and accept their shortcomings. If I tell you that my shortcomings are that my left shoulder is bigger than my right shoulder,
Mm.
that in 2004 I almost went bankrupt, and in 1999 in the middle of a shoot I suddenly my face paralyzed, and that don't I can't communicate in English that easily. Now you have nothing to frighten me with, because I've
Mm.
told you all my minus points. I've empowered myself by telling you what I think is my weak points. So if we come to closer to ourselves and tell the world, this is what I feel, I think that's the first step towards empowering yourself. It's our problem to hide what we think our shortcomings are that makes us wanting to be somebody else. It's like me sitting here. When I got into movies, I was very thin and I was balding. This is a very dignified, solid, bald look. But when you are initially balding, and I came to Mumbai, people said, "Are you crazy? Your hairstyle is not there, so you can't become an actor." Hairstyle was much more important in early 80s. So one of my managers said, "Why don't you wear a wig?" Now, can you imagine if I was wearing a wig and talking to you? I would have been petrified.
Right.
That I hope this fan does not start moving faster. This AC is not coming here. Are you noticing that? Am I wearing a wig or not? So I empower myself by telling you or telling the world, these are my shortcomings and these are my plus points. So you start from zero. So there are no expectations. We make our lives ourselves complicated.
Yeah.
We have to simplify life. We have to simplify emotions. Now, it's easy for me to say that because I'm reached a certain age, but I was always like that.
Sure.
I was always like that because that was the joy of coming from a poor family. Because there was no pretension. That was the joy of my grandfather telling me that when you are very poor, the cheapest luxury is happiness. So you described yourself as happy. That describes everything. That shows in your eyes, that shows in your, and even if suppose you said, I am arrogant, which is fine. At least you know who you are.
Right.
Or I play this game with a lot of people. Tell me 10 things best about yourself and 20 things worst about you. Sure. This is the game I played with my friends or with my students. I run an acting school.
Yeah.
Please write. And people usually don't come up with 20 things which they don't like about themselves. I said, no, but you have to come up with the 20 things.
Yeah, you can find it.
You can find it. So have a conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
That will make it easy for you. And have an honest conversation with yourself. Be honest to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. These are all, people think that this is old school thoughts. But to me, being cool means being honest.
Right.
To me, being cool means being punctual. To me, being cool means having sense of humor. To me, being cool is telling the truth to the world. To me, being cool is not being nasty. The definition of cool needs to be changed. That's what I feel.
I love that. I love everything about that. Hey everybody, your host Justin Crawford here, and I'm bringing you a proud message from our sponsors at Bluemon. Bluemon is a men's hair brand specializing in styling products started by the popular men's grooming YouTube creator Joseph Andrews, aka Bluemon. I'm excited to share that their latest Discovery Styling Kit is out right now and contains 5 hair styling products, all in a convenient travel size. But let's hear from one of their most satisfied customers right now.
Hi, my name is Hans. So naturally, my hair is thick and hard to control. I could never seem to find a styling product that could give me the hold I need to keep my hair in place all day. That's why I use Cavalier Heavy Clay. It's a heavy hold product that gives me the texture and hold I need to keep my hair in place all day. I spend so much time trying to find the right product for my hair.
But with Bluemon's Discovery Kit, you can now try their full range of styling products before deciding on your favorite.
Find the product for you.
Now, if he didn't convince you to make a purchase of that Discovery Styling Kit, I also want to offer you 10% off with our code REALTALK10 for 10% off at www.bluemon.com. And when you head to checkout, if you want 10% off, just use our code REALTALK10. What do you say about taking the first step for better hair today? Back to the episode we go. All right, time to take a quick beat from this incredible conversation and give you a proud sponsored message from our partners of this episode, Cosmic Green Candles. They're a Massachusetts-based candle company that believes that it's all about the vibe and staying environmentally friendly as you light your candles. Now, that's from their wood wicks to their soy wax that they use. Everything is all about what they believe in, which is staying sustainably friendly and making sure that you enjoy every single candle. 2 of my favorite candles from Cosmic Green Candles is Sweater Weather and Santa's Workshop. shop, both of which burn really slow, and they light the room up and smell so good so quickly. I think they are the perfect stocking stuffers for your loved ones this holiday season. I promise they smell so good, and the best part is when you're burning the soy wax inside, it is so friendly to the environment for all of us as it's not releasing any negative toxins into the air. Cosmic Green Candles supports reforestation as well, so every one candle that you buy, they plant one tree with the One Tree Planted campaign as their reinforcement to their mission, which is to be sure that they are protecting our planet as we burn our candles and enjoy them. For some of the best candles out there that smell so good and that are so friendly to our environment, be sure to head to cosmicgreencandles.com and just use the code CandleSeason20 for 20% off your entire order. That's cosmicgreencandles.com, 20% off with the code CandleSeason. Let's get back to the episode, and I encourage you to buy a candle or two for a loved one this year as you're tuning in. You said simplicity is always, it seems like simplicity for you has probably always made your life a lot easier. And over time, I'm sure that's ultimately been something that people can adapt to as they get older. But you said that you've always been that way. So I've always said that. I'm 24, and I to this day think that simplicity is going to be the sign of sophistication for your whole life. But why do you think that?
So if a 24-year-old boy, first of all, that's amazing that you have an amazing sense of understanding, and that I can make out from your questions about life, which is phenomenal. And you describe yourself as happy. So who do you attribute your temperament to? Tell me, I want to know that, Justin.
Yeah. My family. My dad's an Air Force retiree, and then my mom is stay-home Japanese mom. So I learned a lot growing up from them, I would say.
So this is exactly what my point is. I said I learned a lot from my family.
Yeah.
The easiest thing in my father used to say, the easiest thing in the world is to make somebody happy. I just follow that. I just follow that. My father used to always say, my son, the easiest thing in the world is to make yourself happy, make somebody happy.
Right.
So I can quote Sartre, or I can Jean-Paul Sartre, or I can quote Chekhov, or I can quote Eugene O'Neill or Arthur Miller or something like that. But if I am not able to communicate to you that I want to make you happy in this conversation, then this conversation has no meaning. Then Anupam does not care. So I think that is what is important for you. The answer to my question from you was that your family. And I'm sure Jessica is also a very happy person.
Yeah.
Yes, I
she wouldn't have gracefully put us together in the same room if she wasn't a happy person.
Exactly. And she is with her father these days. And whenever I spoke to her, she talks about family.
Yeah.
So it completely boils down to family. My parents were married for 59 years. When my father passed away in 2012, I knew that my parents were not only husband and wife, they were also partners. They'd also turned into brothers and sisters, the best friends, etc. And how will my mother now live rest of her life without my father? My father was just a common clerk, I told you that. There was nothing extraordinary about him. So I said, we have a prayer ceremony when somebody dies. We have a prayer ceremony after 4 days. And it's a very solemn kind of a prayer ceremony. Everybody wears white, and everybody sort of does puja, and kind of prayers are done, and nobody speaks, nobody smiles. It's a very simple and it has a great sanctity.
Yeah.
I decided with my brother that we will not mourn our father's death, we will celebrate his life. So we will tell people that please wear colorful clothes, and we are going to get a rock band and play my father's favorite songs. And my mother came to my mother came to that big auditorium, and we sent everybody SMS, please don't wear white clothes, you will be sent back. So for the prayer ceremony, for the first time in Mumbai of a film actor's father, there were colorful people all over the place, about 700 people. My father was a very popular people with my friends. And then I told the funniest stories of my father to this gathering. His funniest stories. My mother used to get angry with my father. My father used to keep fresh currency notes in his pocket. And every time my mother will start shouting with an intensity, oh, then you did not, my father will will make sound of currency notes. So it means that if you don't shout so much, I may give this money to you.
Yeah,
So her anger will go down. So all
Down.
these stories I told, and by the end of the prayer ceremony, everybody was rolling on the ground. And my mother, at the end of the day, in the night, told me and my brother, "Thank you for doing the way you did this prayer ceremony. I think I was married to a great man."
Yeah.
So you need to break cliches. You need to do what you think is right. My grandfather was once eating. I have to share this with you. Once eating a very long time. I was very small, and he was making a sound while eating. My mother, his daughter-in-law, said, "What are you doing? You are making too much sound while eating." His answer was, "I'm enjoying my food. Problem is yours." So I think that all these things make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. I would say that they make life worth living, Anupam.
Exactly.
Like, I
Yes.
can't think of a time in my life, and I've only been alive 24 years, and I love that you said your life is about the amount of breaths you take, not the hours and the minutes, because I sometimes I tell my dad, I said, listen, I think I'm an old soul, but there comes a point in your life when you have to realize that you're living life so fulfilled, and that might be why it happens quicker, or that might be why you're able to enjoy it more. And for you too, I mean, you've been so busy in your career, but then you've also managed your personal life, and that is a tough trick of the trade for anybody to manage some life between Bollywood, Hollywood, international films, 517, almost 18 now. Like that is
Tomorrow onwards.
right, tomorrow onwards, but I think my biggest question for you is, for those of us who think life might be happening a little too fast, how do you slow it down when you're so busy? And, maybe you're not looking at time and the hours, but mentally, and what do you practice and tell yourself to kind of keep life at a steady pace instead of such a fast one?
When I get up in the morning and I see sunrise or I see daylight, I thank God, another day, another beautiful day.
Just
I
one
am
more
not
day.
here. Just one more day. Today is your best day.
I can't wait to talk about your book, but continue.
Yes. Yeah. And this is what it was. This is what it is. That life is actually beautiful. We just use these phrases just for the heck of it. But unless we really think life is beautiful, how will we discover that it is beautiful? Means my reference point of my life is my journey, not my destination. Out of these 517 films, I will tell you not to watch 450 films. They're nothing great. But that is part of my life.
Yeah.
Life is 80% monotony and 20% excitement. You don't eat every day amazing meals. You eat this thing so that one day you enjoy this special meal. So for me, getting up, having made it, wow, I have made it. Millions of people come to the city of Mumbai, and I, a bald, thin guy, has made it. With 37 rupees, half a dollar, I came to this city, and I'm sitting in this house, and I'm talking to my friend over here who has an amazing watch behind him. And this is beautiful.
It's
How
beautiful.
amazing life can be.
Yes.
Life is so amazing. You are walking. My grandfather used to again say, sorry, this is an episode, you can say my Anupam's grandfather's point of view. But my grandfather used to say that you can feel very happy by thinking how many people are worse than you, and you can feel very sad by thinking how many people are better than you. And people who are worse than you will be always much more in number than people who are better than you. So for me, every day to put on my makeup, to be able to walk, to be able to talk. I'm a people's oriented person. I know so many people. I know my driver's life. I know my assistant's life. I know whose family, when is he getting married, his children are getting married. I am a people's person. I've not asked you personal questions. I will ask you later, because I want to know. I don't want to talk this. I don't want to talk to this person who has a podcast and who is talking to me. And because to me, there is so much to learn from you. This whole nonsense about I'm a thespian, legend, a veteran, I don't carry the burden of being Anupam Kher on my shoulders. To me, I have a sense of wonder. I have a sense of wonder that you are in New York and I'm in Mumbai, and how are we talking? Isn't this amazing? Isn't this amazing?
Oh,
To
the
this
times of
24-year-old boy is also spoke to about his retired Air Force officer and a Japanese mother. I actually can feel your parents around you. I actually do know them. For me, I'm a richer person today when I sleep because I know another person a little more than I knew before this interview started.
we
So
are
you have to be
yeah,
excited about life.
have to.
You have to be
You got me,
excited about
you
your
know,
life.
did not sleep that well last night. I was actually, after I'd finished preparing with for your interview, I could not sleep that well. And so this morning I was like, dang, I wonder what's going to keep me going and excited about life. And it's you, Anupam, you and I to you. I think there's a lot more similarities here. I'm balding. My dad is so bald, and I'm so
Yeah,
proud
exactly.
of that. And it's all about embracing what life is, what life is doing for you. You know, a lot of people think life happens to you. I think life happens for you, and it's all about your perspective. And you have the choice every morning when you, Anupam, get to watch that sunrise and realize you're living one more extra day, and then you
Exactly.
get to prepare for the 518th film that you're about to go work on. That's
Yes.
something to be proud of, and it's something to embrace and love. But also the fact that we're both people persons, people.
Yes.
You know, I think that my friends are always, some of them are introverted, some of them don't care to meet a bunch of people, but I'm like you in respect to every one person I meet is another story that I can get educated about. It's another loving soul that I can become friends with, or depending the level doesn't really matter to me. We
Of
could be
course.
surface level. I talk to you once a year, but if we had a genuine loving connection on similarities and what you're struggling with and how it goes to your other point about what can Anupam bring to the conversation. And if I can't help you and discover more about what you're going through and enrich your life, then there's nothing to the conversation.
Exactly.
You know, I can go on for hours with you, but I want to get to your book. Your best day is today. That's your latest one of the three. And I had you send me an electronic version, Jessica. Thank you for you and your team. I want to read it really, really badly because it starts with today. You know, and I think that people are in this futuristic, forward-thinking mindset too often. So when I read the title of your book, period blank, I couldn't help but be more present just reading the title alone. So when you thought of the title and why you were going to write a book about today being the best day, how did that come to life?
So on the 20th of March 2020, I traveled from New York to Mumbai because we had to cut down our work, and I'm usually recognized all over the place, and there is always some Indian, even if there are no other people are not recognizing.
Yeah.
But at Newark Airport, in an Air India flight, it's not possible that 99.9% people are Indians, and they will die to take because I'm part of their life, to take a selfie. But this time when I was at the airport, people's faces were covered, and there was an element of silence, of inner fear in people, because we were told that there's a pandemic, people are dying, etc., etc. I took this 16-hour flight, reached Mumbai. I have never seen Mumbai airport and the streets of Mumbai so deserted.
Mm.
I had never seen something like that. So I've been here for the last 39 years, and my son met me with opening the door like this, and he just did this to me with his elbow. What is it called? Elbow.
Like an elbow
Hello,
bump.
elbow bump with me, and he said,
Yeah.
"Quarantine, Dad, quarantine yourself." And I actually got fearful. Means I was fearful,
Mm.
and so as I told you that I'm an eternal optimist, I said, now what do I find optimistic about this dark, cloudy situation? Where
Mm-hmm.
do I find silver linings? And after 3 days, I discovered that I have never heard birds chirping outside my house.
Mm.
Never. First time I heard birds chirping in Mumbai, because Mumbai streets are full of traffic, aircraft, auto rickshaws,
Mm-hmm.
buses, cars, people. So first I said, oh, there is an optimism there. There is a signal there. Then this cuckoo who was making this sound, I started whistling back to her. And she was whistling back to me. So there was a connection made. I saw the
Yeah.
sky of Mumbai first time blue.
Mm.
I said, no, I think this is what is needed. So when I'm fearful and when I do not know, I thought the best way to is to write, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily to uh, to form it into a book, but I said
Sure.
I must write what I'm feeling. As an actor, when I have a longer passage as on stage or in cinema or in films, I usually write them down so that there becomes a connection.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote every day, and then unfortunately, my mother was tested positive, my COVID
Yeah.
positive, my brother, my sister-in-law, my niece, and I had a one-to-one account of that. Then I saw so much death. Death became statistics rather than a feeling of emotional loss.
Sure.
I 20 days I decided that I must just give up on social media.
Yeah.
So the book became my chronology of situations as I
Sure.
went through this thing. I lost some very dear friends, etc., etc.
Mm.
But I did not get a title. I had no title. Then I remember that when we were in primary school, me and my brother, we were in fourth grade and fifth grade. My mother used to take us and walk for 15 minutes. And this dilapidated school, she used to drop us to the gate. And at the gate, she used to say in Kashmiri, that's my native language,
Right.
Chon Azruk Dochu Sarniko Jan, which translated it into to those two boys, 9-year-old and 10-year-old, she used to say, your best days today.
Mm.
So we used to enter the school with this thought that mom said, your best days today, now nothing will make us unhappy.
Mm.
We were not the most amazing studious children. We were not, I used to run alone, and my teacher used to say, even if you run alone, you will come second about my running capabilities. So the title came from there. The book is dedicated to my mother because
Mm-hmm.
she's amazing. The way she has brought us up is phenomenal. So I also discovered we keep planning this whole nonsense about we will do this and we will do that. Why aren't we enjoying this moment?
Yeah.
This is an eternal moment.
Mm.
Tomorrow, day after is not sure. You do not know even after 10 minutes what is going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to write about something which will make people feel, because this we have felt universally. We have felt that we also exploited. We are so full of greed that we forgot that there are other inhabitants in this on this planet.
Mm.
The trees, the plants, the animals, the birds. We forgot about that. That's why we became like the zoo people. We were inside our houses and all these people were running around outside feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to share my experience and share it with the world so that what they have feeling, they will think, oh, there is somebody else who has gone through this, and yet give them an element of hope. So yesterday, I have to share this with you. Yesterday, the book, and because of pandemic, we can't go to the bookshop and go on a signing spree. This
Mm-hmm.
book tour, etc., etc.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything has to happen. But I love going to a bookshop. So I went, found out that there's a bookshop close by, and I called them and I said, "Do you have my book?" They said, "Yes." So I ran to that place, and there was only the shopkeeper, the shop owner, and me, just the two of us in the shop. So
Yeah.
I said, how many copies have you sold in the last 4 days? He said, eight, which is very big. I said,
Mm.
okay, eight. And I saw my copy, my book, along with Paulo Coelho's book, his
Mm.
latest book. So I told this person who was at the shop, I said, why don't you make a video? And I made a video and I said, look, this is what happened. There is nobody in the shop, but I am in great company of Paulo Coelho. And I tweeted that. This morning when I got up, Paulo Coelho had tweeted, dear sir, thank you very much. It's an honor to be in your company. So goodness
Mm.
attracts goodness,
Yes. Even in a virtual world.
even in a virtual world.
Right.
Now, I don't know, I was not even following him.
Right.
But when I woke up this morning, I believed that goodness is possible in every sphere of things. So the book is about goodness. The book is about positivity. The book is about experience. The book is about empowering yourself by giving up certain things in life, decluttering yourself.
Mm.
We have, I had so many clothes, I gave away all of them. because all this pandemic time, I was wearing these 2 track pants and some t-shirts. That's it.
Yeah. I've been
I was
wearing the
not
same
shaving also.
sweaters.
Today I shaved for you. I was
Oh,
not even
thank you,
shaving.
Anupam.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm
So I
excited to
think
read the book. I think that there's a lot more time right now, especially to go pick up something, and I can't wait for yours to be
no,
the
I would
very thing
like
I
you
read.
to. You send me your address. Send your address to Jessica. I will
Okay.
want to send you the
Hard
the
copy.
hard copy also.
Oh, I
This
appreciate
is
that.
how
I love
the
it.
book looks.
I
Yeah.
freaking love it.
Yes, I love it, and it's beautiful. And I think it's. I like to be called author
Yeah.
or actor. I am an accidental author. I never thought I've never got more than 38% marks in my
Mm.
studies ever. More than 38%. But yet God has been kind that I've gone to Oxford, I've gone to MIT, I've gone to other places where my topic is power of failure.
Mm.
I tell people about how much power failure has, because it teaches you much more. So I am very proud of the fact that I can actually write in English, and people are actually buying this book.
Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling.
Anupam, I can't help but think that you're the epitome of what it means to drive purpose with your life and your career. And that's a hard thing to do. I mentioned it earlier where I think we're drinking out of the same glass, by the way. See, we're very similar, Anupam. There's something to be said about that because
Doesn't this watch drive you cuckoo?
which one? This one? It's kind of a staple.
It's
symbol.
amazing. It's
I
amazing. It's
appreciate
very.
that.
I appreciated that before that, but looking
Oh.
at it, sort of, it makes me feel that it's making faces at me, but
Oh,
happy
that's
faces.
what. Wait, Gabriel Iglesias was on the show. He was one of our first episodes, comedian. He said it looked like a
Yeah.
hamburger. So you're the second person to make note that it doesn't look like a clock.
No, it doesn't look like a hamburger. Me, it looks like two glasses of wine, one upside down.
Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
no.
Sorry, you were saying something.
All I was saying is that your life and your career are so driven around purpose. And so I wanted to ask you, when you think of the term purpose or the word and how people can start really building that in themselves to then give it to somebody else. I think that this world would be nowhere near where it's at unless people were giving to others and people were inspiring others to keep doing that, because it's a domino effect. You give and you give me the energy. I'm going to go give everything you just gave me in this hour to everybody I talk to for the rest of the day, and it is very much contagious. But I would say that there's a sense of purpose in that. But for you, where does purpose really sit in your life, and then how can other people start thinking about maybe building a sense of purpose and for them?
So I think in your question is the 2 words that you've used is the answer. The purpose is giving.
Mm.
When you do this rather than this, there is a purpose in that. The purpose is sharing. The purpose is to follow my father's advice that the easiest thing in the world is to make somebody happy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to clock it. You have to decide that I will make 2 people happy today. How? In a simplistic manner, you have to decide that.
Yeah.
Like somehow or the other, your parents instilled in this feeling in you that you are happy. You, my friend, will have to decide and tell your listeners, tell your people, why don't we play a game that you talk to me about in this week? Okay, let's not make it per day. Maybe it's difficult. People have to deal with their lives. Per day, tell me, did you make 2 people happy? If you tell me the stories, I will take your names in my show. Something like that.
Yeah.
I do this Twitter contests always, and I do that. You have to decide things, not leave it open. And we live what other people think of us, and constantly make ourselves unhappy.
Yeah.
Purpose is about, as I said to you, giving. My lift operator of my school today tried to open the door when like this because somebody was inside, and it was not a very good thing to do. My first reaction was to shout at him. Then I told myself 7 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. and my tone changed.
Mm.
To get angry is the easiest thing in the world, because anger gives you a false impression about importance. That is why anger is also the ugliest emotion. I have never used two words in my life in the last 30 years
Mm.
consciously. I've never said I'm bored, and I've never said I'm not in a mood.
Mm.
You will never hear this expression in my life from me ever, because we have this false impression of feeling important. I am angry. I am
Mm.
angry. Don't talk to me like this because I am not in a mood. I am bored, etc. It has to start from individuals.
Yeah.
It has to start with the purpose has to start with an idea of giving. And whatever your
Mm.
situation is, you don't need to give in money, in stuff, things. You have to give it a smile. Anywhere you smile in the world, it will be returned with a smile.
Mm.
Anywhere. Smile has no language.
That's very true.
Happiness has no language. Anger has language.
Mm-hmm.
Anger you have to translate into words.
Mm.
But if you are in India, in some area, in some remote area, or you are in anywhere, South Africa, or you are in Australia, you just have to smile and laugh to tell the other person, I am happy. So if we understand all that, it's very simplistic things. Happiness is very simple.
Mm.
Anger is complicated. Anger gives you this complete impression that, oh, I'm an important person. I am something that is happening. My brother spoke to me in the morning, and it was his anniversary.
Mm.
And he expected me to call up at about 8 in the morning, and it was 11. I could not suppose call him. He said, "What is this nonsense? You have not even wished me. It's my 35 years of uh, married. I'm married." I said, "I must call up your wife to have the guts to be married to you for 35 years. Why should I call you up? I will congratulate her because she's
Yeah.
tolerating her." So I think if you have a little sense of humor, things will be a little better. Purpose is to give,
Mm.
to give, not necessarily in materialistic thing, but
Mm.
also emotion. People who just want an emotional stability.
Mm-hmm.
We are all frightened people inside,
Mm.
and to overcome that fear, we get into a certain attitude. But if we share
Mm.
happiness, if we share smiles, we will be less frightened.
Anupam, this has been one of the best hours, not just of the show, but for me personally. So I thank you. I have one more question for you. We're in a very dark time. And part of the reason I was really happy and hopeful that you would come on the show, thanks, Jessica. Third shout out there.
Mhm.
We really love you, Jessica.
Mhm.
There's something in me that wants to just uh, give a sense of hope, and that's exactly what you're doing. It's the mission of your podcast. It's the mission of all the things you've been giving to the world, whether it's online or in person or on a Zoom call like this. But for people who are in a dark place today, no matter what the reason might be, Anupam, what would you want to tell them?
I wish I could translate the song from Hindi to English. But I will still say the lines to you in Hindi. It says, "गम की अंधेरी रात में दिल को ना बेकरार कर, सुबह जरूर आएगी, सुबह का इंतजार कर." It means, in this dark time of sadness, don't make yourself restless. It is
Mm,
very natural that after the dark night there is a morning. The morning will happen, whatever may be, wherever you are in the world.
mm,
Sadness will get changed from, because hope, again, we are coming back to the same topic again and again.
mm,
If you give up on hope, then you give up on life. So don't give up on hope.
mm,
I used to, when I was depressed 5 6 years back, I was diagnosed with depression. I did not know that I was depressed. I
mm,
just could not sleep for a long time. For about 2 years I could not sleep. So I went to my eye specialist, and he told him that I've not been able to sleep. Can you give me some ointment so that I can put in my eyes, because the lights bother me? He said, "Mr. Kher, I think you need a psychiatrist, not a not an eye specialist." I said, are you crazy? I've written this life coaching book. Best thing about you is you. It's a bestseller. Why will I need it? I'm an optimistic person. He said, go and meet this psychiatrist. And I went to the psychiatrist with the copy of that book. I said, doctor, tell me your problems. I want to solve your problems. So for 1 hour, I kept solving his problems. And then at the end of the hour, I gave him my book, gave him my number. I said, when you have a problem, call me. As I was leaving, he started writing something. I said, what are you writing? He said, your medication. He said, you are postponing everything. So when I was depressed in Birmingham, I was shooting for a film called Boy with a Top Knot. I never used to sleep in my room. I used to go and sit in the lobby and talk to people. So talk to people. I don't know how is it possible in New York, because people are skeptical talking to strangers. But maybe your friends, relatives, pick up a phone and call up your old friend. You know what I did when I came to this place? I was feeling so lonely. I got a picture of my 10th grade, and you have these boys, 59 boys in that picture. You take that picture, black and white picture. I called up 39 of those people after 50 years. Wow. And I became so joyous and so hopeful and so happy just to talk to them, just to listen to them. And they could not believe that I was calling them up. We felt such a great bonding. So talk to people. Go walk and talk to a tree.
Yeah.
I think it's important. You have to have the desire. Don't give up. Giving up is not the solution. It doesn't mean that I have not felt depressed. I have been depressed. I have been angry. I have been this thing. But I feel that I can't indulge and go deeper in it. I need to get out of it.
Yeah.
I have a personal issue right now going on in my family. Very close person in my family is very unwell. Jessica knows about it. But that does not bog me down having a conversation with you. Because I will deal with it. Maybe I can deal with it because this 1 hour of conversation for me also is a great balming situation. It has made me feel so happy and so hopeful. Sometimes when you talk out of fear about hope, it actually puts hope into you. So I need hope right now, my friend. And that's why I'm talking about hope. Maybe Jessica will tell you what I'm actually going through at this stage of my life. At this stage right now. I don't want to talk about it in your show, but I am hopeful that life is beautiful.
Yeah.
I have to believe in that. So sorry to be so passionate about it, but that's the way I am.
I love passion. Anupam, this has been a fantastic conversation. From everything between you as a person, everything you're offering to the world, and of course with your new podcast, Anupam Cares, and your books. I think a lot of it, we've talked about it. It's been hope. It's been to drive passion with purpose. It's been to create an aura around yourself that is positive and happy so that others can endure that with you. It's about celebrating life, not mourning over death. We have really talked about so much, and I appreciate you for allowing us to crown you the man of the hour. The term itself has always been something that I don't think to this day is actually trademarked. It's always been a loose term. Hey, man of the hour is in the house. But the reason we've created the men of the hour community is because of guys like yourself who constantly take the influence and celebrity and then this world you've built, because everything you're doing, you're passionate about. You just said it, right? You're driving with passion. Like, we love that. And we love that a lot of what you're doing, Anupam, from this day forward, no matter what's going on in your personal life, it's always about giving. And that is your purpose. And for you to share that with us, I hope instills other people, instills inspiration in other people to go find their purpose in doing the same. So thank you so much again for joining the show.
We are two. It's not only me. In this show, there are two people who instill hope in people and happiness. So it's two people. We are a two-man army.
Yeah.
It's not only about me. Just because you are the person who is interviewing me doesn't take away. It's a 24-year-old boy or a man, and few years older than that 24 years.
Few years older. We got a 24-year-old and a 26-year-old.
Few years. Exactly. And give my love to your family. and say namaste to them. I would please, hopefully, when I come to you to New York someday, I would love to meet your parents.
I appreciate that. And I'm sure they would love to meet you. Namaste and happy holidays, happy, healthy holidays, and all the great positive energy your way, Anupam, to come.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Lots of love.
Thank you. Justin Crawford here, and I'll be back next week with another great guest on the Men of the Hour podcast. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review right here and anywhere else you'd like to listen. Also, check out our Instagram and YouTube channels when you get a chance and see the full video interviews with our guests at Men of the Hour podcast. Thanks for listening. Now get out there and make a positive change for yourself and those around you.